the elderly man, the old woman, and the sick person who is not expected to recover. Is it permissible for them to break their fast during the day in Ramadan? And do they have to provide expiation or not? First of all scholars agree that the elderly man and the old woman who are unable to fast are allowed to break their fast, and the same ruling applies to the sick person who is not expected to recover. This is a point of consensus among scholars, but the disagreement arises among them regarding whether they must provide expiation if they break their fast or not. The majority of jurists, including the Hanafi, Shafi'i and Hanbali schools, stated that they are required to provide compensation, which is an expiation in the form of a measure of food. For each all day, this means that for each day, if a person from these categories breaks their fast, they should feed a poor person for each day. Ibn Abbas explained Allah's words, and for those who are able to fast, a compensation of feeding a poor person, as meaning not able to fast. This verse was abrogated by another saying of Allah, the elderly, if unable to fast, may break their fast and feed a poor person daily. This is supported by Ibn Abbas's narration and Anas ibn Malik's practice, who, when unable to fast, broke his fast and fed a poor person daily, as reported by Imam al-Tahawi. They said that it is established for the elderly man and the old woman if they are unable to fast, to break their fast and feed a poor person for each day. Abdullah ibn Abbas narrated that Anas ibn Malik broke his fast and fed the poor when he was too weak to fast before his death. Imam al-Tahawi reported this: fasting can be replaced with expiation if missed. This is one view. The correct one is by Malikis and Shafi'is. Missed fasting requires compensation, which can be expiation. The correct opinion by Malikis and Shafi'is is no expiation is required for the elderly or women unable to fast. The correct view is that no expiation is needed for the elderly or chronically ill unable to fast. Elderly or chronically ill individuals who can't fast aren't required to compensate due to valid reasons. Elderly and chronically ill aren't required to fast or compensate. As we say, if they are unable to fast, then these individuals are not required to provide compensation. Why? Because they broke their fast for a valid reason, so none of them is obligated to provide expiation, similar to a person who is incapacitated, for example, or a sick person. If someone breaks their fast due to illness, they are not required to provide compensation, and since they are breaking their fast, they are not obligated to make up the missed fasts. Therefore, they are not required to feed a poor person. They said that if the reason for not making up the fast is due to a valid excuse, then there is no obligation for compensation. Feeding the sick person if the illness persists until death. If someone breaks their fast due to illness and remains ill until death, they don't need to make up the fast or provide expiation. This applies to elderly and chronically ill individuals. If they recover, they must make up missed fasts. Allah knows best. So the correct view is that a person is not required to provide expiation if they break their fast due to a valid reason like illness, whether they are an elderly man or woman, or due to a chronic illness that is not expected to heal and the illness persists until death. For example, if we assume a person had a chronic illness and after 10 years Allah the Exalted healed them, then they would have to make up the missed fasts for those 10 Ramadans. However, if the illness continued until their death, then they are not required to make up the fast or provide expiation, and Allah the Exalted knows best.